Goal setting is not about writing a list of dreams on a piece of paper and hoping that one day life will magically deliver them to you. It is about building a structure around your life that forces you to step forward even when motivation fades, even when circumstances change, and even when the path feels uncertain. Too often, people wait for the perfect conditions before they decide to commit to a goal. But the truth is, conditions are never perfect. The world is never quiet enough. The schedule is never clear enough, and your energy is never consistently high enough. If you wait, you wait forever. What truly matters is not the size of the goal you set, but the system you create to bring yourself closer to it each day. A person who decides to commit to 5 minutes of focused effort daily will outrun the person who dreams about massive breakthroughs, but does nothing. The world rewards consistency, not occasional brilliance. The life you want is not a lottery ticket. It is a brick wall built one brick at a time. And here is the part most people miss. Setting a goal is not just about achievement. It is about identity. Every goal you commit to, whether small or big, reshapes how you see yourself. When you decide to wake up earlier, when you decide to read instead of scroll, when you decide to make that call or take that class, you are telling yourself, I am someone who honors my word. It's my word. And that becomes the foundation for every greater thing you want to achieve. There will be days when the finish line feels so far away that you question why you even started. In those moments, remind yourself that the value of a goal is not just reaching it. It is the person you are becoming as you chase it. It is the courage you develop when you keep going. It is the discipline you build when you do what you said you would do, especially when it is uncomfortable. You do not need to set 100 goals. You need to set one clear, meaningful goal that excites you and scares you at the same time. And then you need to break it into pieces so small that you cannot fail to take the next step. That is how you build momentum. Progress, no matter how small, feeds your confidence. Confidence fuels your persistence. Persistence leads to results. So do not wait for the perfect time. Do not wait for more confidence, more clarity, or more resources. Begin now. Write the goal. Commit to the first step. And then wake up tomorrow and do it again. Because your life does not change in the giant leaps you imagine. It changes in the quiet, consistent steps you take every single day. If you honor that process, if you set goals not as wishes but as promises, you will look back months from now and realize you became the kind of person who does not just set goals, but achieves them. And that is a power that no one can take away from you, from you. Think about the last time you felt busy but not productive. You were moving, working, trying, but at the end of the day, you looked back and wondered where all the energy went. That is what happens when clarity is missing. You can pour yourself into action, but if you do not know where you are heading, it is like sprinting in a circle. You will sweat, you will tire yourself out, but you will not move closer to the life you want. Clarity is power because it gives your effort a target. Imagine picking up a bow and arrow with no bullseye in front of you. You can fire arrow after arrow, but there is no sense of aim, no satisfaction in hitting the mark. Now picture the same bow and arrow, but with a big, clear target right in front of you. Every movement has meaning. Every shot teaches you something. You may miss it first, but at least you know what you are aiming at, and you can adjust your approach. That is what a clear goal does. It transforms random activity into purposeful progress. So many people say they want success, but success is not a goal. It is a vague wish. What does success look like for you? Is it earning a certain income? Is it feeling stronger in your body? Is it building a relationship that lights you up? Until you define it, your brain cannot direct your energy. It is like asking a GPS to take you somewhere without entering a destination. The car moves, but you end up anywhere, often nowhere meaningful. When you set a clear goal, you activate a filter in your mind. You begin to notice opportunities, resources, and people that align with that goal. Psychologists call this the reticular activating system. It is the brain's way of tuning in to what matters. If your goal is to run a marathon, suddenly you notice running shoes in store windows, training tips in articles, and people jogging in the park. None of these things were invisible before. You just were not paying attention. Clarity sharpens your focus like a lens, and what you focus on expands. Without clarity, effort scatters. You can be working hard, but on the wrong things. You can spend years climbing a ladder, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. That is why goal setting must start with brutal honesty. What do you truly want? Not what looks good on paper, not what other people expect from you, but what would actually give your life meaning. When that becomes clear, suddenly your no becomes stronger. You stop chasing every distraction because you know what deserves your yes. Clarity also protects you in moments of doubt. When life gets messy, when resistance shows up, when you feel tired or discouraged, the clarity of your goal becomes your anchor. It reminds you why you started. It makes the sacrifice feel worthwhile. People quit not because they are weak, but because their goal was never clear enough to ignite their commitment. Now here is the key. Clarity is not about knowing the entire path. You do not need to see all the steps. You just need to see the destination clearly enough to start moving. If you know you want to be healthier, you do not need to figure out every diet plan and workout routine before beginning. You only need to commit to the first clear step. Maybe that is walking for 10 minutes today. Clarity does not mean perfection. It means choosing a direction and committing to it. So ask yourself right now, what do I really want? Can I describe it in detail? Could I explain it to someone else in a way that makes them see the picture in their mind? If not, then your job is not more action, it is more clarity. Once you have that, every ounce of effort you put in will start to matter. Clarity creates direction, and direction creates momentum. Without it, you waste time, energy, and potential. With it, you become unstoppable, because every step you take brings you closer to a place you chose with intention. And when you know exactly what you are aiming for, the world has a way of stepping aside and letting you through. When people imagine achieving their biggest goals, they often picture dramatic transformations, overnight success, sudden breakthroughs, or giant leaps forward. But in reality, almost nothing worth having in life is built that way. Success is rarely an explosion. It is a slow burn, fueled by countless small actions repeated consistently until they create unstoppable momentum. Think of a train sitting still on its tracks. At the start, it takes enormous effort to get it moving. But once it gains momentum, it becomes nearly impossible to stop. Your goals work the same way. At first, the steps feel heavy, progress feels slow, and it seems like your effort is greater than the results. But every small, consistent action adds weight to your momentum. Each day you show up, even in the smallest way, you push the train forward. And over time, that train gathers speed, becoming unstoppable. The problem most people face is not that their goals are too big. It is that they give up too soon. They look at the mountain ahead and convince themselves that unless they can climb it in one leap, they are failing. But success is not about leaps. It is about steps. Imagine standing at the bottom of a staircase with 1,000 steps. If you look only at the top, you will feel overwhelmed. But if you focus on one step at a time, you can handle it. That is how momentum is built, by breaking the impossible into the possible and doing it daily. Small steps have another hidden power. They build trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you can rely on you. If you decide to write 1 page a day and you actually do it, you are training your mind to see yourself as consistent. That self-trust becomes a powerful engine for bigger achievement. On the other hand, when you set unrealistic expectations, like writing 100 pages in a day, and fail, you reinforce the belief that you cannot follow through. Small steps prevent that spiral by keeping you in motion. Think of water dripping on stone. 1 drop means nothing. But over time, those drops carve valleys into rock. The same is true for your habits. A short workout each day builds strength and health. Reading for 10 minutes a day shapes your knowledge. Saving a small amount of money regularly builds wealth. The actions look insignificant in the moment, but they compound into something extraordinary. Consistency multiplies your results, and eventually the world will call it luck or a talent, but you will know it was momentum. There will be days when you feel like your small steps do not matter. Days when progress feels invisible. That is when most people quit, right before momentum begins to carry them forward. Remember this, every great achievement is invisible at first. Seeds grow in silence underground before breaking the surface. Trust the process long enough to see the results. The beauty of small, consistent steps is that they remove the weight of perfection. You do not need to wait for inspiration. You do not need to feel motivated every morning. You simply need to show up and take the next step. Over time, those steps create a rhythm. That rhythm becomes momentum. And that momentum becomes your greatest ally, because once you are moving, you no longer have to push as hard. The habit carries you forward. So if your dream feels overwhelming, do not shrink the dream. Shrink the step. Ask yourself, what is the smallest action I can take today that moves me closer? Then do it. And tomorrow, do it again. That is how books get written. Businesses get built and lives get transformed, not in sudden leaps, but in small, consistent steps that create unstoppable momentum. Most people set goals thinking only about what they will gain when they achieve them. They imagine the trophy, the recognition, the income, or the external reward. And while those things can be motivating, the deeper power of a goal lies in something far more important. It changes how you see yourself. Goals are not just about reaching something outside of you. They are about reshaping the identity inside of you. Take a simple example. Imagine someone sets a goal to run 3 times a week. On the surface, the goal is about fitness, but something subtle happens with each run. With every step, that person begins to shift the way they see themselves. They stop identifying as someone who struggles with discipline and begin to identify as a runner. That shift in identity becomes the fuel for every future choice. Because when you see yourself as a runner, you naturally make decisions that align with that identity. What you eat, how you sleep, how you spend your time. This is the hidden genius of goal setting. The result is never just the achievement, but the transformation of your identity. A goal gives you something to aim for, but in the process of chasing it, you evolve. You become someone different, more resilient, more disciplined, more confident. That transformation is often more valuable than the actual prize. Think about it. If your only purpose in pursuing a goal was the achievement itself, what happens once you reach it? You would celebrate, and then eventually the feeling would fade. Many people experience this. They hit their financial goal, lose the weight, or land the promotion and still feel empty. Why? Because the true reward was never the achievement. It was the person they became along the way. When you set a goal, you are not just asking, what do I want to achieve? You are also asking, who do I want to become? That second question is the real heart of goal setting. If you set a goal to read 20 books in a year, it is not just about the knowledge from those books. It is about becoming the kind of person who values growth and learning. If you set a goal to save money each month, it is not only about the number in your bank account, it is about becoming the kind of person who is responsible and disciplined. This is why it is dangerous to set shallow goals based only on external validation. If your only aim is to impress people, the achievement will feel hollow. But if your goal is tied to the identity you want to build, it becomes meaningful and sustainable. Achievements can be taken away. Money can be lost. Titles can be stripped. Trophies can collect dust. But identity stays with you. Once you become a disciplined person, that discipline applies to every area of your life. Once you become confident, you carry that confidence everywhere. The most effective goals are the ones that shift your story about yourself. Instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, reframe it as, I want to become the kind of person who follows through on challenges. Instead of saying, I want to write a book, say, want to become a writer. Shuni Durim goals stick because they go deeper than surface level achievements. And they give you a new lens to see yourself through. And here is the most powerful part. Once your identity shifts, your behavior naturally follows. You do not have to fight with yourself to act in alignment with who you believe you are. If you see yourself as a healthy person, you are not forcing yourself to eat better. You are simply acting out who you already believe yourself to be. That is why focusing on identity makes your goals sustainable. So when you set your next goal, ask yourself, beyond the achievement, what identity do I want to step into? Because the real magic of goals is not in the finish line. It is in the transformation of the person crossing it. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is that it is built on constant motivation. People assume that those who achieve great things wake up every day feeling fired up, energized, and unstoppable. But the truth is, even the most disciplined and successful people do not feel motivated all the time. They feel tired, uninspired, distracted, and discouraged, just like everyone else. What separates them is not their motivation, but their systems. Motivation is fleeting. It is emotional, unstable, and unpredictable. You might feel unstoppable one morning, and by the afternoon you are drained and doubting yourself. If your entire progress depends on whether or not you feel motivated, your results will always be inconsistent. That is why systems are so powerful. They take the guesswork and emotion out of progress. Systems are the routines, habits, and structures you build that keep you moving forward, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Think about brushing your teeth. You probably do not wake up every day motivated to brush your teeth. You do it because it is a system. It is built into your day. It requires no inspiration, no pep talk, no emotional high. It is simply what you do. Now imagine building the same kind of automatic system for your goals. Writing for 20 minutes, exercising for 30, reading a few pages, saving a percentage of your income. Over time, these systems accumulate into massive results, all without relying on fleeting motivation. Let us take another example. If your goal is to get fit, motivation might push you to the gym a few times when you feel inspired. But when the motivation fades, so does the consistency. A system, however, is different. A system could mean committing to a workout schedule, setting out your clothes the night before, or having a workout partner who holds you accountable. These systems reduce resistance and make action automatic. You do not have to negotiate with yourself every morning. You simply follow the system. Systems also protect you from decision fatigue. Every day, your brain makes thousands of choices, and the more decisions you make, the weaker your willpower becomes. Systems remove unnecessary decisions. If you have a system that says, I write at 8 a.m. every day, you no longer waste energy debating whether to write. You simply do it. That energy can now be directed into creating better work, instead of arguing with yourself about whether or not to begin. The beauty of systems is that they allow you to succeed even on bad days. Everyone has days when they feel low, distracted, or overwhelmed. But if you have a system, you still move forward, even if just a little. That little bit of progress compounds over time. And here is the irony. When you follow your system, even without motivation, the results you create often reignite your motivation. Action creates momentum, and momentum brings back the very motivation you thought you were missing. Many people obsess over goals without thinking about the systems that will carry them there. A goal is the destination, but a system is the vehicle. Without the vehicle, the destination remains out of reach. You can dream about writing a book all you want, but unless you have a system for writing regularly, it will remain a dream. You can wish for financial freedom, but unless you have a system for saving and investing, it will never happen. So instead of asking, how do I stay motivated? Ask what system can I build that makes progress inevitable? Systems free you from relying on willpower, which is fragile, and instead allow you to build consistency, which is unstoppable. At the end of the day, bursts of motivation might give you a spark, but systems give you the fire that keeps burning. They turn effort into habit, habit into consistency, and consistency into results. Build the right system and you will not need to chase motivation. Your progress will become automatic. One of the biggest traps people fall into when setting goals is the obsession with perfection. They believe they must get everything right from the beginning, that every step must be flawless, and that mistakes are proof of failure. This mindset crushes more dreams than lack of talent ever will, because perfection is impossible, and chasing it only paralyzes you. Progress, on the other hand, is always possible, and it is progress that builds real confidence. Think about a child learning to walk. The child does not wait until they can walk perfectly before taking their first step. They stumble, fall, get up, and try again. Each wobble is progress. And with every attempt, their confidence grows, not because they were perfect, but because they kept moving forward. Adults often forget this lesson. They become so afraid of looking foolish or making mistakes that they stop trying altogether. But confidence is not built by waiting. It is built by moving, even when imperfect. When you measure yourself by perfection, you will always come up short. There will always be something you could have done better, a flaw in your performance, or an outcome that did not match the ideal in your head. But when you measure yourself by progress, you give yourself the chance to win every day. Did you take a step forward? Did you do one thing better than yesterday? That is victory, and those victories compound into unstoppable confidence. Perfection tells you, do not act until you are ready. Progress says, act and you will become ready. This is why progress is so powerful. It creates momentum. The very act of doing builds skill, and skill builds confidence. No one ever became great by waiting for the perfect moment. They became great by starting messy, improving, and refusing to quit. Progress also changes the way you see failure. When you chase perfection, failure feels like the end. When you focus on progress, failure becomes feedback. If something does not work, you learn from it, adjust, and try again. Hey, every setback is still a step forward because it teaches you something new. That shift in perspective removes the fear that holds so many people back. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone sets a goal to run every morning at 6 a.m. Perfection would mean never missing a single day, no excuses. Single day, no excuses. But life happens. Maybe they sleep through an alarm. Maybe it rains. Maybe they feel sick. If they measure themselves by perfection, one missed day means they failed. Their confidence drops and often they quit altogether. But if they measure by progress, missing one day does not erase the other 6. They are still ahead of where they started. That mindset keeps them going. The truth is, no one respects perfection because perfection does not exist. What people respect is persistence. What inspires others is not someone who never struggles, but someone who keeps going despite the struggles. That is also what will inspire you about yourself. Not that you never stumbled, but that you kept walking anyway. Confidence is not the reward for perfection. It is the byproduct of progress. Each time you take action, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Each time you improve, even by 1%, you prove to yourself that you are growing. Over time, that proof adds up, and suddenly you feel confident not because you are flawless, but because you trust yourself to keep moving forward. So let go of perfection. It is a prison that keeps you from starting, keeps you from trying, keeps you from living. Embrace progress instead. Progress is honest, it is achievable, and it is powerful. You do not need to be perfect to inspire others. You do not need to be perfect to change your life. You only need to take the next step, learn, and keep going. In the end, perfection is an illusion, but progress is real, and it is progress, not perfection, that fuels confidence strong enough to carry you all the way to your goals. One of the greatest enemies of achievement is not laziness, it is overwhelm. A big goal can look so intimidating that even before you start, fear convinces you that it is impossible. The size of the dream creates paralysis. You stare at the mountain and think, how could I ever climb that? Climb that. That is why breaking your goals into micro steps is not just a strategy, it is survival. It is how you take fear out of the equation and replace it with action. When you look at any huge achievement, it is easy to forget that it was built piece by piece. A novel is written one sentence at a time. The skyscraper is built one brick at a time. A marathon is completed one step at a time. No one swallows the entire challenge in one bite. They break it down into manageable pieces. And this is the same approach you must use with your goals. Let us say your goal is to write a book. If you focus on the entire book, the weight of it will crush you. You will think about hundreds of pages, endless chapters, and all the editing that lies ahead. But if you shift your focus to writing one page today, suddenly the task becomes possible. Tomorrow, another page. A year later, you have a book. What once felt terrifying becomes achievable through the power of micro steps. Fear thrives in vagueness. When your goal is undefined or too large, your brain fills the gap with anxiety. But clarity reduces fear. When you break a goal into micro steps, you turn the unknown into something clear and doable. Persistence is what separates those who dabble from those who dominate. It is what transforms wishful thinking into actual achievement. Here is what makes persistence powerful. Discomfort is temporary, but the results of persistence are permanent. The awkwardness of starting a new skill will fade, but the confidence you build from mastering it will stay with you. The fatigue of long nights working on your dream will pass, but the pride of creating something meaningful will last. The sting of rejection will heal, but the resilience you develop will shape the rest of your life. Most people quit not because they cannot achieve their goal, but because they cannot endure the temporary discomfort required to reach it. They misinterpret the struggle as a sign that they are failing, when in fact it is the very evidence that they are growing. Discomfort is not the enemy. It is the invitation. It is the doorway to the next level of your life. Think of every inspiring story you know. The entrepreneur who built a business, the athlete who won against all odds, the artist who finally broke through. Behind every highlight is a hidden history of discomfort, late nights, repeated failures, countless setbacks. What makes their story inspiring is not the ease of their journey, but their persistence in the face of the hard parts. That is what defines success. Persistence through discomfort also rewires your identity. Each time you choose to endure instead of escape, you send yourself a message. I am someone who keeps going. That belief becomes a part of who you are. And once you see yourself as a person who persists, your threshold for discomfort rises. What once felt impossible becomes normal, and what was once normal becomes easy. This creates a cycle of growth that carries you from one level of success to the next. So the next time you feel discomfort, do not run from it. Recognize it as the training ground of your future self. Persistence does not mean you never feel fear, doubt, or fatigue. It means you do not surrender to them, you keep moving anyway. That decision, repeated enough times, defines the trajectory of your life. In the end, success does not belong to the most talented, the luckiest, or even the smartest. It belongs to those who persist through discomfort long enough to claim it. One of the most destructive lies we tell ourselves is that we will begin a someday. We say we will chase our dream when life calms down, when we have more time, when we feel more confident, or when conditions are perfect. But here is the truth. Someday is a myth. Life never clears the runway for you. Conditions are never flawless. And waiting for the perfect moment is the fastest way to watch your life pass you by without ever stepping into the goals you dreamed of. The right time is not when the stars align. The right time is not when you finally feel ready. The right time is now, because now is the only time you can control. Tomorrow is a promise, not a guarantee. If you wait for certainty before acting, you will wait forever. Success belongs to those who act in the face of uncertainty, who begin when it is messy, unclear, and uncomfortable. Think about the people you admire. They did not wait for perfect timing. Entrepreneurs started businesses before they had all the answers. Athletes began training before they knew how far they could go. Writers put words on the page before they had confidence in their voice. The courage to start is what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. Starting now does not mean doing everything at once. It does not mean you need to be fully prepared or have the entire path figured out. It means taking one small step today, no matter how imperfect. Send the email, sign up for the class, go for the walk, write the first paragraph. These actions may seem insignificant, but they create momentum. And once you are moving, the path begins to reveal itself. Clarity often comes after action, not before. Waiting feels safe, but it is actually the most dangerous choice. While you wait, time slips away. Opportunities pass, energy fades. Your dream grows heavier with regret. Starting now may feel risky, but in reality, it is the only way forward. You will never regret beginning. You will only regret that you delayed. There is also a hidden gift in starting now. You learn faster. Action exposes what works and what does not. If you wait for certainty, you miss out on the lessons that only come through doing. Every attempt, even the failures, moves you closer to success. Ian, say, by starting now, you put yourself in the game. By waiting, you guarantee you stay on the sidelines. Many people think, I am not ready. But readiness is not something you wait for. It is something you build. Every expert began as a beginner. Every master once felt unprepared. They did not wait for readiness. They created it by starting before they felt ready. And you can too. So ask yourself, what is one thing I could do today, right now, to move closer to my goal? Forget the illusion of perfect timing. Forget the fantasy of being fully prepared. Just start. Start. Action creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence accelerates success. But it all begins with the decision to start now. The right time to start is not tomorrow, not next month, not next year. The right time to start is this moment. Because life is happening now, and so is your chance to create the future you want. Every day you delay is a day you could have been building momentum. Every day you wait is a day you cannot get back. The world does not reward hesitation. It rewards action. It rewards action. And the people who win are not the ones who waited for permission or certainty. They are the ones who dared to begin. So stop waiting. Stop planning the perfect start. Stop telling yourself you need more time. The right time is here. The right time is now. And once you begin, you will look back and realize that starting today was the most powerful decision you ever made. Every goal you set is an invitation to rise, to grow, and to become more than you are today. It is not about waiting for perfect conditions or chasing perfection, It is about clarity, small steps, persistence, and the systems that carry you through when motivation fades. So, it is about shaping your identity with every promise you keep to yourself, embracing progress over perfection, and refusing to let discomfort stop you. Above all, it is about starting now, because the moment you decide to act, you begin to transform. The person you want to become is built in the steps you take today, not tomorrow. So commit to your goal, break it down, and move forward, because your future is waiting for the version of you who dared to begin.